What's going on, everybody? Today I have the ultimate World of Warcraft tier list video for you. In this video, we're going to be determining your worth as a human being based off of the spec you play on World of Warcraft. Now, I want to preface this video with two things. First thing is, don't shoot the messenger. I am just conveying this information. I didn't just make it up off the top of my head, so please don't get mad at me if you're mad at the results that you see in this video. And the next thing is, please check the date in which this video was posted. Some of this information does change based off of Blizzard's tuning of the classes. Other times, some of this stuff has been true for 20 years. But other examples, like Warriors, for example, dramatically change based off of how good they actually are. So let's start off with Warriors. Warriors are retarded. It's absolutely, especially Fury. I mean, holy shit. But this is an extreme case. The Warrior, just like the Warrior class, it scales dramatically. The better the class is, the dumber the players are. And you have extreme examples like in Season 5, when Death Knights came out, where the absolute most giga-brained players played Warriors because it was survival of the fittest. All the other ones just died out and played something else. And then another extreme example would be like Mists of Pandaria, where there was almost an extinction level event where the Warriors got so dumb that they would almost forget to breathe, just due to Blizzard's extreme tuning. It was absolutely absurd what was happening at the start of Mists of Pandaria. So Warriors firmly in the retarded camp, and they would agree with you. This is not even a controversial take. They embrace this, with an exception to Prot. Now, I will say this tier list has more of a flavor towards PvP. So sometimes you have that Prot Warrior Savant. So I will give Prot mostly pretty cool. I don't think they deserve this as much as so we'll give them pretty cool, because sometimes there's some dad gamers or just people that play Prot and do some cool stuff. Next up, we have Demon Hunters. Now, Demon Hunters share a lot with Warriors, but the difference between Demon Hunter players and Warrior players is that Demon Hunter players actually think they're smart, which makes them more retarded. Now, that might be controversial, but Demon Hunter players, they think they're smart, but they're actually dumb, which is why I rate them above Warriors in the retarded category. And when it comes to Vengeance, I honestly, it's so few that we're going to give them the benefit of the doubt and give them pretty cool. Next up, we have Druids. And this is a category that's definitely changed over the years. For the longest time, I would have categorized Feral Druids as weird. For the first 3 or 4 expansions, everybody that played a Feral was kind of like this weird enigma. Nobody really understood the spec. It was just, I don't know, kind of just a weird thing to play. But nowadays, the spec has been good for like 15 years, and it has attracted an absolutely degenerate player base. Like, everyone that plays a Feral Druid right now is like hopped up on G Fuel, ADHD, talking at 10,000 miles an hour. And this is not like just one specific, this is everybody that plays this. Literally 100% of the people are just absolutely Energizer Bunny psychos. So Feral Druid, they're not psychos in the like weird, like psychopathic way. They're just like crazy, like just bouncing off the walls. So I'm gonna put Feral Druid in the degenerate, caffeine addicted category. Guardian, I'd say mostly pretty cool. And I'd say Balance also mostly pretty cool. Resto, you're probably into some furry shit. You probably watch anime. Next up, we have BM Hunter, and this is probably the least controversial choice. They would categorize themselves as retarded. The real question is, are they dumber than Warriors? They're not dumber than Demon Hunters, because Demon Hunters actually think they're smart. But BM Hunter, I don't know, they're self-aware. They're very self-aware, and they're kind of proud of it. So, I don't know. You could probably put them ahead of Warriors, but we'll leave them right here for now. It's very, very close. They're definitely not dumber than Demon Hunters. Nobody's dumber than Demon Hunters. Survival, dude, the spec, I don't know what the fuck's going on with Hunters anymore. Hunters are like healers now? Like, what is happening? Hunter is the spec for people that play Call of Duty. It just is. Marksman Hunters are the kinds of people that break their keyboards and smash things when they lose an arena. They are the stereotypical nerd raging gamer. So I think Marksman might deserve to go in the Psycho category. It's a toss up between Psycho and Degenerate, but we'll go Psycho just to change things up. Next up, we have Rogues. All 3 Rogue specs are the same, just like all Rogue players are the same. If you play a Rogue, you are addicted to some sort of substance. You're sucking on Zyn packs. You're addicted to nicotine, addicted to caffeine, or you're addicted to a harder drug. And if you're not addicted to a substance, you are a convicted felon. Those are the only 2 options if you play a Rogue, which cements Rogue solidly in the Degenerate category. They're not moving. They're in that category for life. Next up, we have Evokers. Again, not a super controversial take here. Firmly in the weird category. They're watching anime. They're into some weird stuff. However, I will give an olive branch to Augmentation Evokers. It seems like Augmentation Evokers genuinely play their spec to like help the group, and they seem like a more selfless type of player to play that role, and I've had pretty good experiences with them. So I will say Augmentation a little different than the other 2, but the other 2, dude, you're a fucking weirdo. Next up, we have Death Knight. Now this list is more catered towards PvPers, so keep that in mind. However, if you play a Blood Death Knight in PvP, you're a psycho, even above MM Hunters, which is crazy to say. If you play a Blood Death Knight in PvP, you are somebody that tortures animals for fun. That's who you are. Frost and Unholy DKs are pretty much the same thing, so we'll group them together. And I want to talk to all the Death Knights right now. Listen, I know you come home from a hard day at work, and you just want to kick back, unwind, and make Battlegrounds absolutely fucking miserable for everyone with your death grips, 90% snares, 10,000 fucking pets lagging everybody out. I get it. I get that that's fun. But you need to get your priorities straight. Your son needs a father figure in his life. Your son is on the prison pipeline. And it's not that you're actively a bad father. It's that your absence is the real problem. So you're not a bad person, but you just need to be more present in your child's life. So I think that Death Knight's pretty degenerate. They're not hopelessly degenerate, but they just need a wake-up call. Like, they need, like, an intervention to just stop ruining everybody's fucking life in Battlegrounds. Next up, we have Mages. Old Faithful. Not only has this been the same for 20 years, it's never even gotten close to changing. Mages have dominated this category so firmly that I'm not sure anybody else can even be in the category with them. And for anybody that's even, created a World of Warcraft account, this will not be news to you. Mages, all specs, firmly in the whiny bitches category. Never in my life have I seen a spec consistently so good, yet the player base complains so much. It's staggering. Every Mage player, right now, if you're a Mage player, shut the fuck up. We are sick of you fucking yapping and complaining about literally everything. It's absolutely absurd, the amount of fucking whiny bitches that play Mages. It's staggering. Next up, we have Paladins. Paladins are another class that's sort of changed over the years. We'll start off with Prot. If you are one of those Prot Pally savants in PvP, there are occasionally, very rarely, a few of them. Some of them play Solo Shuffle, where they really put all of their time and effort and energy into being good at this bizarre spec in PvP. So Prot Pallies, it's hard to choose between weird and psych. I'm going to put them in Psycho. I think they're a little bit of a different breed than just the people that play kind of a niche spec. This is hyper niche, especially the ones that play like Solo Shuffle that just really invest their time and be good at Prot Pally and Arena. It's wild. They might even be more psycho than MM, but they're not like psycho in a bad. They're like psycho in a harmless way. But they're definitely psycho. Now, Ret Paladins have ascended. In my experience, they have ascended. If you were to ask me Ret Paladins for the first 15 years of WoW, I would say firmly, easily retarded, maybe even above BM Hunter, maybe. But I think things have changed. In my experience, now I did take a break in Shadowlands, so maybe, take that for what you will. This is a hot take. I'm going to put them in pretty cool. I have had pretty good experiences with Ret Paladins as of recent. Maybe that's just, low sample size. But are Ret Paladins not retarded anymore? I don't know what to say. That's staggering news to me as well. And now we have Holy Paladin. The types of people that play Holy Paladins, It's hard to describe, but it's when you hear about somebody that plays a Holy Paladin, your only reaction is like, oh yeah, I could see that. Like that's kind of that's kind of the reaction. Not really good, not really bad, but you know, somebody tells you they play a Holy Paladin, you're not really surprised. So it's hard to define them, but I'm gonna say pretty cool. Again, I haven't really had any negative experiences, but it's just kind of what you expect. Holy Priest. Yeesh, man. It's a tough one. This is kind of like Evoker. It's kind of a toss-up. I'm gonna go with weird. It's definitely weird, between weird and pretty cool. But we're gonna go weird. They're not as cool as Holy Pal. Holy Pal is pretty chill from what I've seen as of recent. Now, Disc is probably the hardest thing to define on this list because they do complain a lot, but to put them in the same category as Mage is just like, that's just inaccurate. Like, Mages complain so much that it just skews everybody else to where they just can't compete. And sometimes they're a little psycho, but sometimes they're cool. Man, I don't know. I'm gonna put them in the psycho category, but they're low. Like if I could put them way down here, I would, but they're definitely a little unhinged, but they're nowhere near as unhinged as like a Marks Hunter. Like, so this is not representative of the Disc population, but you know, if I could put them down here, I would, but I can't. Shadow Priest, firmly psycho, firmly fucking psycho, firmly. This is not even close to a hot take. There we go. Again, way more psycho than Disc, way more. Brewmaster, pretty cool. The people I've seen that play Brewmaster and PvP are just these, you know, they're fun. They're just fun. Like, they're doing a weird thing, and sometimes it's like really effective. At the start of this expansion, I saw Brewmaster, like this one guy on Brewmaster, like owning, and then they nerfed him. So I don't know. I think it's fun. For Mistweavers and Windwalkers, I will also put them in the pretty cool category. In fact, I'm going to bump up the entire monk class to the top of pretty cool. I just haven't had bad experiences with monk players. The only bad thing about monk players is that they're just entirely forgettable. They're not so nice that you really remember them and that you remember them for that, and they're not like so psycho and weird that you remember that. You just sort of forget about them, and they're just kind of there, but they're not bad or good. But I would say they're mostly good. I've had very good experiences with monk players, but that's really all I can say about them. It's kind of like the monk player is kind of like the IT guy that does his job, and it does his job well, and you just sort of like forget that he's there, and you don't really appreciate him, but you also don't really give a shit either. So that's kind of where I feel about monks. Next up, we have Enhancement Shaman. Now, I am currently maining an Enhancement Shaman, and let me tell you, they have designed this class specifically for people that watch trains. This is a class for people with weapons grade autism, and it's not even close. They dominate the weird category so much that maybe we need to expand the weird category to like weird and autistic. This spec is absolutely bananas. The amount of shit you have to do to make this spec work. It's got the hardest DPS rotation in the game from what I can tell. The most things to micromanage. And then at the expansion, they're like, you know what? We see you've got a lot going on with this whole Enhancement Shaman rotation. How would you like a melee totem to micromanage with totemic projection, not on GCD? We know you're doing a lot already, but how about a melee totem that you have to micromanage 24/7? How about that? I like the spec. Maybe that says a lot about me. I'm having a lot of fun playing it, though. I don't know. I like it. But I don't know. Train's pretty cool, too. So, yeah. Next up, we have Elemental Shamans. Now, I will say that sometimes Elemental Shamans can get a little bit unhinged, but I still think mostly pretty cool. They're definitely not as chill as Windwalkers, but I don't think they're quite as unhinged as Holy. I'm going to put them above Ret. I think most Elemental Shamans, especially the ones that have been playing for a while, are pretty cool. So we'll stick with that. Maybe that's slightly inaccurate, low sample size, but I'm going to say pretty cool. I've had mostly good experiences with them, especially the ones that have been playing for a long time. Maybe the Flavor of the Month guys are a little bit, less cool, but mostly the lifers, pretty cool. Now, holy fucking shit. Oh my God. Fuck. Brace for impact. If you thought Elemental was cool, trust me, there's somebody bringing down the whole Shaman class, and that is Resto Shamans. Holy fucking shit. Resto Shamans are absolutely unhinged. They're menaces. Resto Shamans are the angriest, most miserable humans in the history of the world. Resto Shamans are the types of people that like retweet Destiny tweets. Resto Shamans are so miserable and angry, it's really hard to quantify. They are psycho to the extreme. I'm not even sure there's a category to really define Resto Shamans. They have to be right about everything. Resto Shamans are so unbelievably unhinged that the psycho category, they might need their own category. But for now, the top of the psycho category will have to do. Affliction Warlocks, I'd say also a little bit psycho. Do you put them? I think they're above marks. No, they're not above marks. We'll put them right here. They're definitely firmly in the psycho category, but not, I don't know, not as bad. Next up, we have Demonology Warlocks. Now, we're not talking about the flavor of the month rerollers that play it when it has one-shots. This is mainly catered towards the people that play Demonology all the time, good or bad. Now, I will say that I have positive experiences with Demonology Warlocks. They're usually pretty cool, but oh my god, are they weird. They're not as weird as Enhance, but they're weird. In a good weird. They're not bad weird, and they're not anime weird. This side of the weird category, you know, from Resto Druid down, that's like anime weird. And Demonology Enhance are like, I love trains weird. But mostly positive experiences, but absolutely weird. And finally, we have Destruction Warlocks, which I'm gonna put pretty firmly in the degenerate category, maybe even above Death Knight. They're not like, I don't know. A lot of them do use drugs, but it's not as consistently as rogue. Like every rogue player is like sucking on vapes, but not every Demo Warlock. Demo Warlocks have like bad sleep schedules, so they're low end degenerate. Mostly positive experiences. Every Demo Warlock I know, or sorry, every Destro Warlock I know is pretty cool. But you know, they definitely don't have it all together. You know, they might have some credit card debt. So we'll put them above Death Knight, but you know, still mostly positive experience. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed my World of Warcraft tier list. This will pretty accurately assess your value as a human. Again, don't get mad at me. I didn't just make this shit up. This is information I'm conveying to you as a service. So please don't get mad at me. And also, this information will, you know, is subject to change based off of tuning. Some things I think are pretty set in stone, like mages. Like mages aren't going anywhere. That they own the category. They are the category. They invented it. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Have a good one. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to subscribe with notifications on. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and join the Discord. It's free.